An event venue owner out there, can I just be quite frank with you? Your business is dying because you're relying on third party platforms to give you leads and to book more packages. And here's the thing, a lot of the times when we're new to business, we rely on these third party platforms to generate us leads. But the issue that we run into is that we're relying on another source outside of our internal business to generate us more traffic. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about why third party platforms is killing your business, killing your event venue, and how you can transition from relying on third party platforms and relying on an ecosystem that actually produces results that you can track. So let's get right into it. So you may be getting traffic from these sources, however, they're not turning into booked events. You may be getting inquiries coming from these third party platforms, but the issue that I find with a lot of different event venue owners, especially myself when I used to rely on these third party platforms, is that I may be getting inquiries, but they ghost you. Literally, like I may reach out to them as soon as they state that they're looking for a venue, but as soon as I reach out, it seems as though that person is non-existent. and I, I'm not saying they're fake leads, but I am saying if someone reaches out to you and they just don't respond, there may be a deeper issue than just receiving that contact information. So you're constantly stuck refreshing these third party platforms, hoping that someone will actually respond. And what I find in utilizing these platforms is that I don't control the data, I don't control the information. A lot of the times when people go to these platforms, they put in their information, they may be specifically inquiring for one venue in your local area, but it shoots out to hundreds of venues of all that customer's information. Since you don't own the data, that third party platform shoots it out to various different venues, and now you're relying on them. Now you're relying on the hopes that they're looking for your type of venue, especially if they didn't inquire for your particular services. So the third party platform trap, and this is what happens. This is a cycle that I see every time someone relies on these platforms. You pay to be listed. So you may have there's a tiered system where you may have the first tier where it's a free option to post your event venue and all your business information, and you get limited visibility. You may be able to interact with some leads, but you're not able to interact with a large majority of the leads that's inside the marketplace because it's a free listing. And in that second tier, you may give more visibility on these platforms, but there's still limitations when it comes to being a premium um, type of client. In the third tier, you may have maximum visibility. They may even shoot your event venue on their premium sites and or on top of search engines, and you're paying a premium for this service. Absolutely. You're paying a premium for this service just for the hopes of someone being interested in your services. But again, not owning the data, not owning the information, just relying on someone going to this particular site to look for those services that you may be offering. And you're competing with a plethora of different event venues in the industry. I've been in the industry for a while, and there's been a lot of pop-up venue in our local market, and a lot of them are going away because simply enough they're relying on, again, third-party platforms. They're not creating their own ecosystem when it comes to generating their own leads and own bookings. And what happens is it shoots out to hundreds of venues, and now you're competing with a large ocean of different event venues, trying to get that client's attention with the hopes of them being interested in your services. Because again, when people go to these platforms and they put in their information and put in the criteria of what they may be looking for, the third party platform shoots all that information out to all different types of venues. And now you have to reach out to that person with the hopes of them being interested in what you offer exactly. You wait for cold leads. And what I mean by that is these people may not even be your ideal client. They may just be something, maybe somebody that just may be looking for an event venue, but is out of the scope of what you offer. And what I mean by that is when on these third party platforms, you're able to put a budget, and that budget can be anywhere from 0 to 500, 500 to 2,000, 2,000 to 5,000, 5,000 and up. And this is their budget for the event. So those leads are going to you, but again, they may not be your ideal client, especially if they're over capacity or just the budget that they're willing to work with doesn't suit what your venue offers. And now you're looked at as a commodity because now you're competing with all these other venues that may have the prices that structure to the budget that they're looking to spend for their event. And there's not detailed targeting for reaching out to these ideal clients. And then you get ghosted. And the reason why we're getting ghosted on these platforms is because the people that push, the people that are putting their information on these platforms, and they may be just be looking for one particular venue, and they're getting all these calls, and they're like, why am I getting all these calls? Because these platforms are pushing it. I'm going to keep reiterating it because it's so important to understand that you are not the only venue that these platforms are catering towards. They're catering towards a bunch of people inside the industry. So their main goal is to get leads that they filter out, and it's up to you to constantly keep following up with these people, utilizing resources, time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears to try to get their attention, or just hope that you get someone that was looking for your particular services, that they're interested to get your response. And then it's just a repeated cycle. It's a repeated cycle. Trust me, I've been on all these third party platforms. I When I first started in my journey, relied on these third party platforms, and then I had to pivot and convert into, I was working with a venue and I was marketing for them and getting them results, opening my own, started getting my own results. And I'm still on these platforms for free, advertisement, but I'm not relying on them to give me clients. That's the major difference. It's good to cast a net out there and be on Google, Yelp, Wedding Wire, the not all these different type of platforms just to get your exposure out there. But you have to have your own ecosystem and attraction system to get clients within your business and target those ideal clients that's best suited for your business. So we're not just losing money, we're losing momentum relying on these platforms. Cost per lead in the industry is anywhere from $20 to $50 cost per lead, and that's per acquisition, per book client that you have inside your system, not per lead, but per acquisition, per person that you book. There's a 5% conversion rate on these cold platforms. 5%. Right now, we're running meta ads, and we have a conversion rate of about 25%. So that means every four people that inquire, one of those people are going to convert into a book tour and book client. And that's a lovely conversion rate because we've been working on this system for so long and reiterated the process, changed the process, changed the messaging, and we're targeting specific people for our event venue that is looking for our services. We talk to those pain points that they may be experiencing, and we position ourselves as the solution. And with these platforms, you just have generic information on a page and they shoot it out to a bunch of different venues, right? It's hilarious to just think about, and how my thought process was when I first opened years ago. And now how I think about it is we're creating our own economy. We're creating our own revenue source. And that's the major thing. That's the major thing. Creating your own revenue source that you own. So you're renting attention, right? But it's not converting. So with paying into these platforms, again, you're renting attention, but it's not converting. It's a low conversion rate if they're not particularly looking for what you have to offer. So who's really in control of the leads? Who's really in control of the leads? You can't retarget these leads because you don't own the data. It's limited follow up. A lot of these platforms restrict the amount of time that you can follow up. If you have your own CRM, obviously you can get their phone number, email, and have your own system in place where it automatically follows up. But if you don't have that in place, it can be a restriction to the amount of time that you touch bases with that person. Again, you don't own the data, so that means you don't own the information where you can retarget them for your Facebook or Instagram ads or anything with that information. You just don't own, and you're just at the mercy of them constantly marketing and trying to get people on this third party platform so you can get more visibility for your event venue. So you're building their platform, but you're not building your business. And the thing that I really want to um, give you is that you have to look at this as like a pyramid in a sense. They're marketing to all these consumers inside the market, generating leads and pushing it out to all these other venues in your local market with the hopes, again, with the hopes of you booking one of those clients that's looking for your services. And instead of you marketing to your ideal client, hey, we cater to 70 people, we cater to 100 people, we are the baby shower venue in our local city, we are the wedding venue of your dreams, and really talking to those pain points that the people may be experiencing inside the marketplace and positioning your venue as the solution, people are more ideal to inquire for your services because you're talking exactly to them. Have you ever came across an ad and you just looked at it and was like, man, this is exactly me? They are talking to me in particular. And what you do next is putting your information. You look for email, a phone call, a text message, whatever the case may be, just to get the information to potentially work with those businesses, right? So start stop renting visibility and just start owning attention. You want to own attention inside the marketplace. You want someone to say, man, I came across this venue. um, I may have not booked them, but I know about them because I came across some information and they just talked directly to me, and this is the information. That's how you start getting referrals. But the people that actually end up working with you, you just hone in hone in this attention that you just can't build off of someone else's platform. We've been open for 2, 3, 4 years now, and what we experience is that a lot of people come inside of our event venue. We still run ads, but they come inside our event venue and say, "Hey, you know, um, a friend told me about your event venue. They did an event here a couple years ago," or they come in and say, "Oh, I seen your ads, and I just had to come in just to check you guys out because I'm looking to do this type of event." Getting this data is crucial because we don't stop advertising when we get a client. You don't stop building a relationship when the lead comes in. You're building a relationship throughout this whole customer journey. And I've done a video on this before talking about the customer journey in particular because every customer that comes inside your system should be experiencing that same 5-star experience that your venue offers. So what you need is consistent warm leads. And warm leads is someone they may be aware of your business, or they may have came across the ad before or talked to a friend and they may have brought up your venue, but you want to consistently talk to warm leads. Have you ever been talking about something and then out of nowhere you go on your phone and say, "Man, I was just talking about this." And you see an ad on your feed? That's the type of attention that we want. We want to automate the follow-up because we want to be able to work on our business than working in our business. And what I mean by that is that you want the ability to have a system that works for you rather than you being the system and wearing all the hats. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the sales, you're doing the administrative work, you're doing the follow up, you're doing the setup, the breakdown, the cleanup. There's too many hats in this business, and you want to be able to delegate some of that pressure off of you. And one of the biggest things to delegate is your lead flow. Have the ability to say, I don't have to stress when I have my next book tour. I don't have to stress to think that my next lead, my next book client, I don't have to stress because I have a system that works for me rather than me constantly having to be there for it to work. And you just want to own your traffic and data. The most valuable thing, one of the most valuable things a business can have is data and just information, an ecosystem of names, phone numbers, emails, any information you can get from a client, because we take that information from our in-market data strategy. We take that information from those people that's already booked with you, and we target those exact ideal clients so you can get more of those exact ideal clients. So that's what we want to start doing. Stop renting just visibility, but start owning attention inside of your marketplace. So the booking engine that we've created, which is called the AAA method, that replaces the third parties. Custom ads. So we want the ability to target baby showers, wedding receptions, celebrations of lives, first birthday parties, 21st birthday parties, whatever your top three events are. We look to do catered ads to those particular avatars, those ideal clients made for your venue. So we won't target people that may be looking for 100+ people if your venue doesn't cater to 100+ people. We want to take all the data that you've already built up. You've built a great business so far, but let's take it to the phenomenal level by getting your data, understanding that data, understanding your top three events, understanding the clients that you love to work with, understanding who's bringing you in the most money. Target those top three events and do custom ads exactly to those people. Lead capture. We take that information, right? On your own terms, you take that information and you have a database of people that you can retarget to for future promotions. You have that information to um, send out mass text messages, mass emails, or just follow up with the clients that's booked your space. You own that information. So lead capture, AI follow up, the buzzword, right? AI. How do I implement AI inside of my business? Well, we've created a system where it works while you sleep. Follow up happens 24/7, 7 days out of the week, 365, while you can go on vacation and don't have to worry about your space being booked out for the weekend, right? What happens is with the AI follow up, it qualifies the leads that's coming in and ensures that that person is a good fit for your space. So, and I'm going to use this example again. If someone is looking for 200 people for their baby shower, it may be awesome that they're doing a baby shower. However, the capacity just doesn't make sense. So that wouldn't be a qualified lead for your business. And what happens is every time a lead comes in, the system itself improves because it understands and gives that feedback back to the custom ads so it can target the exact people that you're looking for. We are looking for someone who's looking to have a baby shower for 50 people, who's looking to do this time slot, whatever the case may be, has this budget. Whatever your data says, this is a data driven business. Whatever your data says, we look to feed it to the AI. The AI understands that information, qualifies those leads, that either go and continue to go through the process to book a tour, or we just disqualify them, but we give that information back to our ad strategy, our ads team, so they can refine the process. And then you have a calendar book. You wake up, clients self schedule, or we have a human touch where our virtual appointment setters will constantly follow up with them for a reason. And what I mean by that, we have a strategy called Take 15. It takes about 15 touches for someone to say, I'm ready to move forward. And I'm not saying every lead's that way, but I am saying that some salespeople, some people in this industry, some people watching this video feels as though when someone inquires for their services and they don't get a response, they just stop following up. They just stop following up and you're losing money. Money is in the follow up. Money is in the follow up. So we have a strategy here called Take 15, and we follow up with people when a lot of other venues, right, inside your local area may have stopped. Quick story, I have a client that we work with maybe a year or two ago, but we followed up with her for 4 to 5 months. 4 to 5 months, we constantly followed up with her, and not just following up saying, "Hey, you ready to book?" But like giving her valuable information for her event. Hey, you're expecting a birthday party, and these are some of the most popular themes that's happening inside the birthday space right now. We gave her an event planning form. We gave her all this information, and come to find out she was opening up our emails, but come to find out that she went through some health issues. And when she finally responded, she said, "Thank you for following up." Right? I reached out to a bunch of different venues, but I ran into some health issues, so I couldn't exactly book at the time. My attention just wasn't there. And I wanted to book with you guys when I first started, but due to that happening, I decided to wait, and I'm glad that you guys constantly kept following up with me because, again, I just forgot about this space. I'm back in the market and I wanted to book with you guys. She ended up booking with us. That was a $3,000 booking. So, again, Take 15 is something that we take serious here for a reason. And the reason for that is just not to get a booking, but to get data and information. The appointment setters that we have on staff, we ensure that they're trained to constantly keep following up for a reason because whatever that reason is, they've already booked somewhere else. They are doing it at home. The price is too high. Um, you know, Whatever that reason is, we take all that data again and we push it to our custom ads to perfect our ads. We ran an ad before because one of our top objection was I'm doing it at home, right? And this was like the first quarter of this year. And we did an ad that strategically said, hey, thinking about doing an event at your home. Well, what happens after? We started talking about the pain points of cleaning up after an event, which is something that nobody wants to do. So we started talking about the pain points of having an event at your home and just and making sure that it's clean afterwards. We got some great responses from that ad and people coming in and just saying, man, I was thinking about doing an event at home, but I decided not to. I decided to, book a venue because I don't want to do the cleanup. So again, we make data driven decisions and not emotional decisions. So data is the name of the game. Then client close, high conversion rates. We see anywhere and from all the ads that we run from Facebook, Instagram, Google, we're even starting to do TikTok ads. From all the ads that we run, we have a conversion rate of about 40 to 45% closing um, from the in process. So that means from all the leads that come in, our close rate's about 40 to 45%. And that's a great closing percentage. I believe the average closing percentage, and you can look this up, is anywhere between like 15 to 20% for an event venue. For artists, about 40 to 45%. Because again, strategic, data driven decisions we ensure that we look to do. So, ready to break free from the chains of third party platforms. No more ghosting. No more wasted money month in and month out relying on someone else to get you leads, but you want consistent bookings, consistent book tours, and more revenue inside of your business. I've created a community where event venue owners just like you may be experiencing these exact things. However, we have weekly calls where we just dive deep into some of the strategies that's working now, right now in this current climate that we're in, and just ways to improve what is already either working or improve on what's not working. And if you want to sit down one on one and apply to work with us, you can look in the description below for that community I talked about, but also just to apply to work with our team so we can implement this system for you. Hey, the main goal is to create something that you don't have to be a part of day in and day out. You want leads, but you may just not know how to get them. You want book tours. You may just not know how to convert those leads into tours. So we help with that. And we do it for you in a free community that you can join and get this information, but also apply to work with us as well. So look in that information inside the description, and we can't wait to see you at the top. Talk to you soon.